All right, welcome back. Today we are going to be making the last part of our train here. We are going to make the train body. And the way that this is going to work, it's definitely a weird shape, but essentially what we're going to do is I'm going to break this up into three parts. I'm going to break it up into a rectangular prism right here. This cylinder, we're going to draw a cylinder and then extrude it. And then this piece right here, so you'll notice that there's two drawings for the train body. There is one of the back and one of the front. So the way that we're going to get this round piece right here is essentially we're just going to draw like a really big circle because they give us a radius and they give us a center point. And then we're just going to draw like two vertical lines here because at this point we'll already have the base. And then we just take this profile and then extrude it this way. And that's how we get that shape. Okay. So, I've got to clear my screen. All right, let's get started. The first thing, there's a lot of measurements. So to really you really have to pay attention to what you're doing or else it's really easy to get the wrong measurement for something. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make this rectangular prism here on the bottom, and let's find out our measurements. So our width is going to be right here from there to there, and then look for the arrows that are touching that line. Okay, so that's a width of 2 inches. And then from here to here we got 5.5, and then from the bottom to the top it's going to be right there, 0.875. Okay, so let's hop into Fusion. We're going to start a new sketch, and we're going to make this. I'm going to make my front face, so I'm going to make this 2 inches by 0.875, and then I'm going to finish my sketch and extrude it by 5.5. Okay, so we got the base piece here. I'm not going to make any of the holes yet. I'm actually going to leave that for the last part. Okay, but now I'm going to make this cylinder right here, or actually, so we could make this cylinder, but we don't know how far down it goes because, oh, I guess we do. Let's see. There's a line right here. That's 1.75. So if we want to know how far to extrude this, all we got to do is take our total length and subtract 1.75, which we can do in Fusion. So I guess let's do that. So they give us a radius here. The reason they give us a radius is because it's not a completed circle. It's missing this part right here. So in Fusion, when we go to draw this, we have to make sure that we double that value so we get diameter. So let's find our center point. Our center point right here, if we trace this line out, from there to the bottom, it's going to be 1.375 high. And then the center point, this is 2 inches wide, so we can kind of assume it's centered. But if you wanted to double check, it is right there. Okay. So we're going to start a sketch on the front of our train here, and I'm going to draw a circle. That is, let's see, they give us a radius of 0.75, so that's going to be a diameter of 1.5. And the center point is 1.375 from the bottom. So we're going to go dimension from the center point to here. Oh, dimension from the center point of the circle to the bottom of the train. So 1.375, right? Yeah. And then the dimension from the center point to one of the edges of the train is 1 inch. Then we finish our sketch. And to get this extrusion distance from here to here, our total length is here, and then this gap is 1.75. So we're going to take this number and subtract it from that number. So we're going to extrude this by, let's see. Oh, okay. Positive wants to go in this direction, which means we're going to have to go in the negative direction here for a solid, but we're going to have to write this weirdly. So we're going to do negative to indicate direction, and then I'm going to do parentheses 5.5 minus 1.75, And that gives us a length here of 3.75. The minus sign, it doesn't always mean cutting. The minus sign just means direction. Okay, so it's indicating that positive is in this direction. So if we want to go the other way, we got to do negative. All right? Okay, now to the more difficult piece, to get this back piece here. So to get this back measurement, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the back piece here, and they give us a radius value for this top arc here, okay? And they also tell us that the center point is located here, which they give us measurements for. So essentially, we're just going to draw one big circle centered here, draw some vertical lines, and then trim this big piece here, okay? So let's go back here. Let's start a new sketch on this surface. And we're just going to draw a really big circle. And that is 2.35 in radius. So I'm going to do 2.35 star 2. So that's our main big circle here. This looks ridiculous, but we'll get this in the right place. So our sketch dimension, we want this to be centered. So from here to here is 1 inch. And how high should this be? Let's see, it's 0.375 high. So from here to the bottom of the train is going to be 0.375. Now what we have to do is we have to seal off this profile. So I'm going to take my line tool, starting at the top left of my train body. I'm just going to go straight up and past. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the right. So starting in that corner, go straight up. And then I just need one more to seal off the profile right here at the bottom. Finish my sketch. And then I'm going to go to extrude this by, if I go back to this right here, it's extruded out by 1.75. So we go extrude, that face right there. Again, it thinks positive is this direction, so we're going to go negative 1.75 and then press enter. So there's our main train body. Now we have to start adding some holes. There's lots and lots of holes on this train because we're going to connect wheels here. The cow catcher is going to go on these 3. The smokestack is going to go right in there. And then there is a thing right there that we're going to make a little peg for. Okay? So I'm going to start with the wheel holes. So the wheel holes are, here is a measurement that we want to take a look at. This is called US Standard Bolt Code because these are supposed to be screws. Now, when we made the axle peg, we left out the threading, and that's okay. We don't really need it for the purpose of CAD modeling, but it is important to know what this means. So this just means that this is a 1/4 inch diameter hole. This hole is a 1/4 inch in diameter, and it's extruded in by 0.875 for 4 of them because there's 1, 2, and then on the other side there's 3 and then 4. Okay, so it's a 1/4 inch in diameter and they're extruded by 0.875. Now the position is both center points share a height of 0.5, and the distance is measured relative to the back of the train. So this one is 1 inch from the back of the train. This one is 4.5 inches from the back of the train. So we've got our size and position. So I'm going to start a new sketch on this surface, and we're going to draw 2 circles here. Let's see, they are a 1/4 inch in diameter. So I'm going to take my dimension tool and make these circles on the side 0.25 inches. And they are 1/2 inch from the bottom of the train. So I'm going to measure from the center point down to here to be 0.5. Same thing with this one. It's going to be 0.5. And then the distance, the hole at the back of my train, the distance from the center point to the back of the train is 1 inch. And the distance from the hole in the front of the train, the distance from the center point to the front is also 1 inch because it's symmetrical. Or you can do the distance from here to the back of the train is 4.5. I mean, it's the same thing. So then we'll finish our sketch, and we're going to extrude these in by 0.875. Now, to get the holes on the other side, I'm going to show you a really cool trick called project geometry. Project geometry is one of the best tools you can use. So we're going to start a sketch on the other side of our train. Then I'm going to rotate my camera. So I'm looking, I see the other two holes. I'm going to go create, project, project, and I'm going to click on this whole face right here and then press OK. And you'll see this projects the lines for the face, the other side of the face, onto my current sketch plane, including the holes here. Now these holes are already sized and positioned because it's symmetrical. So all I have to do is click extrude, click on those two holes, and extrude them in by 0.875. Super easy, super easy. Okay. Now, the holes at the front of the train are a little bit more difficult just because there's a lot of them and there's a lot of measurements. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So we've got 3 holes here that have a diameter of 0.125 and they're extruded in by 0.125, and it says 0.125 times 3 because there's 1, 2, 3 holes. So let's get them placed and sized. So I'm going to start a new sketch on the front of my train. And I'm going to draw 3 circles that are 0.125 inches in diameter in the approximate locations. All right, we'll get the correct locations later. So let's see. Both of these circles, if we follow their line out, they share a height of 0.125. So let's go get those dimensions set. The distance from the center point of the bottom circle to the bottom of the train for the left and right is 0.125. And the distance from either side is going to be 0.375. Because it's symmetrical, I'm just going to do 0.375 on either side. All right, we got the bottom 2 set. Now let's get our top one. Our top one is 0.625 inches from the bottom, and it's dead center, so it's going to be 1 inch from either side. So let's say what did I say? 0.625. So that central circle is going to be 0.625 from the bottom and 1 inch from either side. Then we finish our sketch, and we're going to extrude these in by 0.125. And we're almost done. We need 1 more hole, or 2 more holes, sorry. We got one for the smokestack and one for the hitch at the back of the train. So you might be asking yourself, how do you start a sketch on a round surface? See, if I go to create sketch and I try to start a sketch on a round surface, it's not going to work. So we're going to go construct a tangent plane. A tangent plane means it is touching the top of a circular surface at an infinitesimally small point. And it's nice and flat. That's what we want. All right, so we're going to start a new sketch on that plane that I just created at the top of my cylindrical piece here. And let's see, they give us, there's a circle that is 1/2 inch in diameter that's extruded in by 1/4 inch. It's split right down the middle, we can assume. They don't really give us a measurement for it, but we can basically assume that it's symmetrical. And it's 0.875 from the front of the train. So I'm going to start a new sketch. And it is 1/2 inch in diameter. Oops, I don't know why that happened. It is 0.875 from the front of the train. And this is already lined up, so it's in the middle, but if you want to be thorough and make sure it's dimensioned properly, you can do that. We'll finish our sketch, and this is extruded in by 0.25. So we're going to extrude by negative 0.25, and there is the hole for our smokestack. All right, we just got one more hole at the back of the train. So I'm going to go to my other drawing, and there is a hole that is lined up with the center point of this circle here, 0.375 from the bottom, 1 inch from either side. It's 1/4 inch in diameter, extruded in by 0.5. So I'm going to create a sketch, and I'm going to draw a circle that is 1/4 inch in diameter, 0.25. and it is the center point to the bottom of the train is 0.375, and then the center point to the either side of the train is 1 inch because it's split down the middle. And then we're going to extrude that in by 0.5. And that's the train body. Not so hard. There's just a lot of measurements you have to keep track of, but if you learn to parse things out, the main thing you have to look for in complicated drawings like that is what arrows are pointing to those lines and what numbers are attached to those arrows, okay? So, for example, like this one is a lot of students get tripped up on this because they're not sure whether the 0.125 is pointing to this line or to this line. But the giveaway is that this 0.625, they're only going to put a number in between the lines if it can be directly in between these arrows here. If it can't, they're going to make it go underneath, and then you just follow that arrow up to whatever line it's pointing to. And then the line directly above it, that's going to be the measurement for that. Okay? But that's it for the train.